is if you were a venture capitalist, how would you, or what would you do to help start up minority businesses, particularly minority-owned businesses, to help them become successful? If you were a venture capitalist, what would you do, or what would you look for in a startup minority business to help them become successful? Now, our cohorts today are, again, Nicole and Ken. Okay. And if you want to do a quick short bio or introduction of your business, please feel free to do so.
Okay, sure. I'm Nicole Lewis. I own Visual Appeal. It's a graphic design consultancy. We specialize in marketing and public relations support.
Okay.
And I'm Kent Ruffin. I'm the publisher of Soul Virginia magazine. I do business consulting and talk to my love baby.
You can see that we have become quite comfortable. And this happens with every group of cohorts I bring onto the show. So if you're interested in becoming one of my cohorts as co-hosts, just give me a ring-a-ding on LinkedIn. Social media. Okay. Let's just say we have a boatload of money, and we have been successful. But we also know that there are some startups, particularly, and I'm really want to look at minority-owned, minority-focused businesses. And we've had conversations. You and I have had conversations on how in the world do we help, or what can we do to improve minority business ownership and success? So you just won the lottery, or you just have a lot of money?
I just have a lot of money. I think for me, something that's going to be key is going to be passion and commitment. If they're passionate about what it is that they want to do, and they're truly committed to doing it, I would definitely want to back them to see them succeed. They would have to have done some research to really get themselves prepared and not just dive into it, but really, if they're passionate about it and committed to it, I think that would be key for me.
Okay. All right, Kent?
It's really a hard question. It's a much more difficult question to answer, because the arena of African American businesses are so skewed. They haven't broken what we would call the barrier into true business. A lot of businesses are under $1 million, maybe some are underneath $10 million. Today, you have to be in the 100 million and above, and in truth, you have to be at $500 million in order to be considered really a business, a small business. Because when you have companies like an Apple that are calibrated in $100 billion range in capitalization, when you're down at $1 million, you're not even part of the conversation. So in order to, in many ways, to help African American businesses as a venture capitalist, you have to aggregate some majority businesses who are very well established, buy them out, and then bring in an African American business and pair them together so both can learn about each other's markets and also learn about the experiences of how to be in business. Because we haven't recognized how to get to the marketplace most efficiently.
Okay. Let me stop you. You said if you're a venture capitalist and you had other business, you would buy them out and then bring in minority. Could you explain how that would work?
Well, a lot of times what venture capitalists are looking for, they're looking for a return on investment. And they're trying to leverage capital. So if I had an African American business that arguably was a $50 million business, in real terms, they may be making a net profit of $1 million. I can't see putting at risk $600 million to get $1 million in return to buy your business out. It just doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
And even if I scale you up, I scale you up, but who are my prime competitors?
Let me just stop you right there, because when I think about my interaction and networking with small businesses, and I have to agree with you at a certain level, and that's going to be at this lower level, because a lot of businesses, and I include myself, we are sole proprietors mainly, and we are just really trying to make enough income so we don't have to depend on a full-time or part-time employed job.
Absolutely.
And when we, and jump in here, and when we look at who we are as a entrepreneur, we have not even reached the $100,000 level. And I understand where you're going, but my concern is that some people at 100,000, we're struggling to get there. And I include not only African American, any minority-owned business, especially nowadays when people say, well, I can't get a job, so I'm going to start a business.
Right.
It is not going to happen. You're not going to be successful overnight. However, if you're starting somewhere where you're trying to replace a salary, and your salary was $60,000 or $50,000, you are still going to be not even there for another several years. So at 100,000, $500,000, and small businesses, and for the definition is any employees under 500 in a business. So whether you're making $500 million a year is under 500,
right.
And a lot of minority businesses don't have that. When I think of the bigger pool of businesses in our country, United States, but most of us, as we're starting off, we are so low we can't even think to that 500 million mark. So as a venture capitalist, would you even look at anyone who says, Nicole, you've got a great brand, you've got a great idea, and we're ready to take you to the next level, but we're going to pair you with a very successful mainstream or another business so you can learn. It's like an apprenticeship.
Right. So
you can learn to grow your brand, your business, as we are pulling you up and pairing you with successes. That's how I see that as working, but we are not at that 100 million, 10 million or more level. You know them? You know those people?
Well, I'll use an analogy. There's something called the NCAA, National Collegiate Athletic Association. They've got tiers. They got AA, AA, A. But a Kentucky compared to a Gonzaga, world of difference. Okay? A Kentucky versus a VCU, a world of difference. And all the kids who go to school know where they want to go. They want to go to the colleges that generate to the NBA. Go with coaches who go to the NBA.
Right.
Turn that around. Apply that to business.
Now, how can we get those small businesses paired with those coaches or those teams or those businesses that are already at the NBA level?
We don't, watch this. Most major corporations are shedding divisions left and right. Because they're moving this way, they no longer want to be there. Where are we with the capital to buy those businesses that are coming off, that are being spun off? That's, see, when we talk about venture capital, we're talking about a particular player within a very large arena. What we have to do is we have to first organize our consumers. We've got to educate our consumers to spend their dollars in a way that helps the businesses that we are interested in helping. We also have to have schools that teach critical thinking so that when a kid comes out, he doesn't just think that the best way to making a lot of money is to go into the NBA or be a dancer, that it's worthwhile to go into business.
Sure.
We have to teach them science so that they can be creative and think outside of the box.
Right.
So it's a long process. So as a venture capitalist, I may not have enough of a market or enough of a resource to be able to even be able to help. See, that has always been the problem with venture capitalists who have tried to get into the African American or the minority community. They're not at the right size in order to benefit from the venture capitalist place.
And that's why I agree, because and that's the challenge. There are a lot of minority-owned businesses that are not at that size, and they will never be at that size until they really look at strategically, or how are you going to grow. And because a venture capitalist, a VC, will look at, well, how have you grown your business over a period of time since you've been in business? And it's almost as if the education is more on the small business or the minority business owner to really understand, if I want to be successful and get the millions bottom line, then I have to look beyond just me and what I do. I have to start engaging probably some others who are, or complement, or who are part of a network where I can build my customer base, build my product line. And I want people who are going to think a little bit different from me, because I don't want a bunch of Vanessas trying to run the business. I need some other people who have expertise and build the business and make it profitable, and then maybe a VC will come along. So you've done very good job on that. But we're so far from that.
Well, Famous Amos, he had this cookie that he made famous. But he was smart. He sold it to a major cookie company. Got the money and then went into another business. You got to understand where you, in any circumstance in business, you got to understand where you are, who your prime competitors are, what your markets are, what your strengths, what your weaknesses are, and then you have to strategically take that information and make a decision that best suits you. All too often, our businesses, as we've accurately said, are just surviving to take care of their family. They're not really talking about being in business for making wealth. They're just trying to maintain. Instead of having a job, they've created a job for themselves to go to work for someone else.
And that's pretty much what it is. You've created a replacement job for the job you used to have, because you can't, unemployment numbers have gone down here in our Commonwealth, our state, Virginia, but, it still is not enough to have those who have been unemployed for a long time to get into a job. So they're creating these little portals of entrepreneurship that hopefully will be successul for them.
We have Glory Foods, which is another one. They went from a single product that was in a bag to multiple products which are now in cans. But in a sense, they've come up against the marketplace. They've come now. They're competing with Campbell's, and now they're competing with these guys and these guys.
And they've also expanded their product line. We were so used to have them in cans, and now those frozen greens are they're really good.
And then they're seasoned and pre-cooked.
Yes.
And then what they're doing is also now they're contracting with farmers just to produce. So again, it's a much bigger question. How do you get to play?
That's
in the game that you want to play in.
Thank you so much. We have. That's where I was trying to wrap around and bring this to where I have to bring it to a close. But that is where the bigger question is: how do we play?
I think it's about relationship building. It really is about relationship building. So as a venture capitalist, if you have the relationships, then you make the introductions. Where you see that passion or that drive, you make the introductions and see if there's some possibility to help that business to grow and expand.
And I want to bring this to a close in this segment, because this is a conversation I think we'll have again. And I really, and we've had some, and it's not just in this community, so many communities, we wrestle with, who is the small business or minority business, and how can we help them grow and be successful? And the question keeps coming up until the mindset is that how can we pull them together and talk about what are the things that we're doing to expand or grow our product line, services, reach out to more clients. Then as we grow together in certain places, and we can be successful and probably not need as much venture capital.
Exactly.
but I'm being optimistic, and also want to make sure that people are not going to business thinking that, okay, I'm going to be successful overnight and that's all I need.
Right.
It's so much more than that. And we have passion.
Mm-hmm.
We have passion. But do you have a plan?
Exactly.
And do you have a network?
But this is what Vanessa Womack on Track is really about.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Is to give you a better understanding of what you will experience if you happen to go left or right.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you access. It gives you the understanding of what the geography looks like.
Absolutely.
And how you can go from there.
Right.
Because there are a lot of other things. Not only having venture capital, you need some small insurance companies.
Absolutely.
You need some
Absolutely.
bonding firms.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of people that have to participate
Mm-hmm.
in order for there to be an economy within the communities that we represent.
Absolutely. And for those of you who've heard your discipline or profession said just now, you're invited to come on Track and talk about how do we educate, how do we inform those who are trying to go that journey or that track to become successful entrepreneurs and grow their business. Thank you all so much. This is so stimulating.
Thank you.
So stimulating. Yes, see, this is what it's all about. On Track with Vanessa Womack. Thank you so much, and tune in again.